You're watching Luntha TV and it's time for our 7:30 news bulletin. My name is Tandy Wimzumara. Let's have a look at our top stories. Pope Francis calls for every effort for dialogue and peace in Middle East. President Jawara advocates support for tobacco farmers amid rising international demand. High Court finds Satar-linked companies for late document submission to ACB in property forfeiture case. And in other news, floods kill at least 60 within 2 weeks in Tanzania as heavy rains persist. We do have the details of these stories and more, to stay with us. At the conclusion of Sunday's Regina Shelley, Pope Francis made a heartfelt appeal to halt the spiral of violence in the Middle East and for all nations to favor negotiation and peace efforts while assisting those suffering in Gaza, calling for a stop to any actions that may fuel the spiral of violence in the Middle East that risk plunging the region into an even wider war. The Pope said he is following with prayer and concern, even sorrow, the news about the worsening situation in Israel following the intervention by Iran. We have more details on this Vatican News report read by Bernard Manza.
Pope Francis emphasized that nobody should threaten the existence of others and that instead all nations should take the side of peace, helping Israelis and Palestinians to live in two states side by side in security. The Pope renewed his appeal for ceasefire in Gaza and that the path of negotiation be pursued with determination. Recalling the suffering of the population in Gaza, plunged into a humanitarian catastrophe, he called for every effort to alleviate their suffering and prayed that the hostages kidnapped months ago be released. The Pope also renewed his prayers for children around the world who are suffering due to the many wars in our world, mentioning in particular Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, Myanmar, calling on everyone to pray for them and for peace in our world. In speaking about the burden children bear due to war, the Pope also recalled that from 25th to 26th May, the Church will mark the first World Children's Day. Greeting the children present in St. Peter's Square and those watching around the world, he thanked them for their efforts to promote this day and assured them of his prayers, accompaniment as they journey toward the event with their preparations underway.
Archbishop George Desmond Tambala of the Diocese of Lilongwe has advised the faithful to encourage peace and unity among themselves in a quest to achieve great projects within the Church. The prelate made the call on Sunday when he consecrated at the St. Patrick's Parish Church in Area 18 Lilongwe. The church, which the parishioners have given a 925.5 million Malawi kwacha facelift, has been renovated for a period of 2 years. Herbert Kadanda was there.
The renovation project started in November 2021 at an estimated cost of 694 million kwacha, but at the time of completion in January 2024, the cost had increased to 925.5 million kwacha. Archbishop Tambala said the completion symbolizes unity among the parishioners, adding that if the church is to embrace such kind of tolerance, there is a possibility of achieving greater things.
I told them not to relax, but to look ahead and to plan better and improve. And that's indeed important because in as much as we are celebrating this very good work, there's always a temptation to lay back and to say, okay, we have made it. And that's where things start to get a little bit wrong or bad.
St. Patrick's Parish Council Vice Chairperson Dr. Matthew Ntumbuka concurred with the Archbishop, saying the project witnessed unity and cooperation among the church members. Dr. Ntumbuka further stressed that the cost of the project increased as a result of kwacha devaluation. During the consecration, the parish also launched its strategic plan to guide its operations in accordance with Catholicity. The church was opened in 1986 with a 1,000 capacity, but the renovations, which have seen a number of changes, have also increased the capacity to 1,200. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I'm Hilbert Katanda.
The Office of the Pontifical Mission Societies, PMS, in the Catholic Diocese of Mangochi has emphasized the capabilities that families in the Catholic Church have in sustaining vocations. This comes as the Church is preparing for the Vocations Sunday celebration slated for the 21st of April 2024. Rashida Matandika has filed this report.
The Pontifical Mission Society's director in the Diocese of Mangochi, Father Paul Raposo, said the upcoming event is a mixture of God's calling through priesthood, religious life, marriages, and all the vocations that God, through the Holy Spirit, manifests His powers and gives to His people. He said there are challenges that the sacred life is facing currently, citing the reduction of numbers of young people aspiring to be priests as an example. He then called upon families to nurture all the vocations that come through family and marriage, so that there are a lot of children and the youth aspiring to become servants of God through priesthood and religious life to sharpen future leaders of the church.
You know, in the families, it's where we believe that everything is coming from there. The priests are coming from there. The sisters are coming from there. Even the brothers themselves, they're coming from there. And the family, each and every family should know that I think I've got something to do for the church. So they have to give whatever they have got.
Father Raposo also urged Christians to deepen their faith when supporting the church, not only through offertory money, but praying for the church and its servants.
This church is already in our hands. You know, especially in Mangochi Diocese, we have had these priests who are the Europeans from Italy, the Italians, who have developed this diocese of Mangochi, and they're not there. Some they're dying, some they've gone back home. So we are really encouraging these families to take part for the church. And not only giving, but they have to pray for the vocations. They have to give for those sisters, those priests who are there in the parishes. When you visit some parishes, you'll see that the parishes, they're really struggling. So the Christians, the families themselves, they have to do something.
This year, the Vocations Sunday is expected to be celebrated under the theme, Youth, as you are called to sow seeds of hope and build peace, go and invite everyone to the banquet, which has been derived from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 9. In the Diocese of Mangochi, the diocesan event will be held at St. Louis Montfort, Balaka Parish, where Right Reverend Montfort Steamer will be the main celebrant. Rashida Matantika, Luntha TV, Balaka.
State President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has underscored the importance of tobacco farmers in generating foreign exchange for the country. Making the remarks during the official inauguration of the 2024 tobacco marketing season at the Jinkoma auction floors in Kasungu district earlier today, Dr. Chakwera highlighted the necessity to support them and tackle the growing international demand that Malawi is currently finding challenging to fulfill. Charity Shilanga has filed this report.
It is now my singular honor to declare this year's tobacco market season officially opened.
President Lazarus Chakwera emphasized that addressing the forex shortage in the country requires a concerted effort to increase exports through hard work, particularly in agriculture. He stressed that agriculture is crucial for boosting both household income and the nation's foreign reserves, highlighting the importance of advocating for better prices to support wealth creation initiatives. Chakwera cautioned against the sale of farmland, as it leaves communities without the means to grow crops, ultimately perpetuating poverty. He called for awareness of land laws by the Ministry of Lands to prevent such practices. Minister of Agriculture Sam Kawale expressed satisfaction with the favorable tobacco prices on the opening day and hoped for their continuation. He noted that an increased number of buyers forces health competition and praised the government's collaboration with tobacco buyers to sustain prices. Godfrey Chapola, chairperson of the Tobacco Commission TC, raised concerns about tobacco smuggling to neighboring countries, depriving Malawi of much-needed foreign exchange. He pledged to increase annual tobacco production to 200 million kilograms in the next growing season, aiming to meet the total demand of 190 million kilograms, as this year's production fell short at 140 million kilograms. The 2024 tobacco marketing season was officially launched with the theme, Protecting Our Economy, Joining Forces Against Illicit Tobacco Trade. Prior to the commencement of the tobacco market season, President Chakwera visited the ongoing construction site of Malawi Defense Force MTF staff houses, a project being undertaken by the government through the Ministry of Lands at the Engineers Battalion in the Sam district. Chakwera also presided over the official opening of the Tobacco Commission offices at Kasungu Boma, reiterating the government's commitment to supporting the tobacco industry while ensuring fair and transparent regulation.
You're still watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandy Wemzumara. Stay tuned as we bring you more right after this short break.
Atagwedeza Robins Park mumzinda wa Luntha pa 1 January New Year's Day. This is Somo album launch. Lilongwe, it's your turn. Steve Wasisomo, Mr. Grace, akubanga zainu yo. Shifa ICA Maki Pachema Mwambuye. 5 May 2024 will be a day to remember in Lilongwe. Zisomo Volume 1 and 2 album launch Komanso Thank You Gospel Concert live from 12 o'clock Masana. Supporting acts the Great Angels Choir, Shama Vocals, Kondwanichira, Miracle Chinga, Success. Onsewa kutsina Mangidala on the big day. Pakomo 4,000 kwacha Hulagulu, 2,000 kwacha ana. Ndipo VIP 10,000 kwacha. Golirani tumatikiti anu pa www.pansikaonline.com. 32 Sunday 5 May, Shefa ICA Maki from 12 noon. The multi-award winning gospel musician Steve Wasisomo, Mr. Grace. See you there.
Luntha Television stands as an autonomous faith-based broadcaster with a national and international reach. Experience the difference with Luntha Television, where innovation meets experience. Our dedicated team, backed by cutting-edge technology, ensures seamless execution and unparalleled results. Luntha guarantees credibility and professionalism in all its endeavors and services. We offer among authors, production and broadcasting of jingles, music videos, narratives, documentaries, press services and programs on occasion or outside live broadcasting of mass and other church functions, government or indoor functions and political rallies, creation and broadcasting of special programs, sponsored content, sports and entertainment, and advertising for small, medium and large enterprises. All services are offered at competitive prices. Tune in daily to catch Luntha television on Zuko on channel 51, Starsat channel 474, Star Times channel 474, Topstar 474, Kliye 007, GoTV on channel 807, Azam on channel 386, and live streams on our YouTube and Facebook platforms. You can find us in Area 2 Lilongwe or can reach us on 0883 815 055. Come, let us help you grow your business.
Welcome back. Before I proceed with our news, let's have another look at our top stories. Pope Francis calls for every effort for dialogue and peace in Middle East. President Jawara advocates support for tobacco farmers amid rising international demand. High Court finds Satar-linked companies for late document submission to ACB in property forfeiture case. And in other news, floods kill at least 60 within 2 weeks in Tanzania as heavy rains persist. The Financial Crimes Division of the High Court in Lilongwe has imposed fines on certain companies associated with Zunaith Satar for tardy document delivery to the Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB in a case involving the potential forfeiture of at least 8 properties linked to Satar's companies. Justice Violet Chibao adjourned the hearing of the defense's application to lift a preservation order on the properties to April 24th due to the defense's belated submission to the Bureau. One of the defense attorneys, Kaleke Nikapale, described Monday's hearing as mainly procedural, while the Bureau's lawyer, Benjamin Mandala, viewed it as progress. Robert Edward has all of the details.
On Monday, April 15th, the civil matter was scheduled for hearing of defense's application for the rescission of the preservation order on 8 land properties, including that of Zarite Limited, one of the companies connected to corruption suspect and business mogul Zunaith Satar. However, the court held that the defense, led by Kaleke Nikapale, served additional documents to the Bureau on Friday, while according to the Bureau's lawyer, Benjamin Mandala, the law requires that the service to be done 2 clear days prior to the hearing, a development which, among others, informed Justice Violet Chibao's decision to adjourn the matter to 24 April for directions, as both the court and the Bureau were yet to go through the files. Chibao further slapped the defense with burden to bear the cost of Monday's proceedings. According to Mandala, the cost include for time spent to look at the documents and travel expenses to the court, among others. And the Bureau believes that the property were acquired in a fraudulent manner, hence the case.
We received a complaint alleging that there was fraud in the acquisition of those plots of land from the Ministry of Lands. So we instituted investigations and we found out that there was fraud in the acquisition of the pieces of land. Some of them, they did not apply for the pieces of land.
Kapare, who is representing the Satar's connected Zarite strips, could not grant us an interview, but says that the proceedings on Monday were nothing much but procedural matters. The Bureau already has a preservation order for the 8 land properties, which include that of the Zarite Spirit, Orion Investment, and Ocean Industries Limited that are connected to SATA. The Bureau would want to confiscate the property. The properties may be worth billions of kwachas, which can be confiscated if the ACB succeeds. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
The Competition and Fair Trading Commission, CFTC, has warned consumers, health facilities, pharmacies, and the general public to stop the distribution and use of Benylin pediatric cough syrup batch number 329304 due to the detection of high levels of diethylene glycol following laboratory analysis. The syrup is used for the relief of cough and its congestive symptoms, high fever, and other allergic conditions in children aged between 2 and 12 years. Fales Juzombe reports.
According to a statement released by the Competition and Fair Trading Commission, signed by its Executive Director Lloyd Vincent Comer, CFTC received information from the COMESA competition through a public notice dated 12 April 2024, alerting the general public of a recall of Benylin pediatric cough syrup, batch number 329304, which is manufactured by Johnson & Johnson in South Africa. CFTC calls on consumers, healthy facilities, pharmacies, and the general public to stop the distribution and use of the drug and return them to the suppliers. The Commission is yet to survey the country's pharmacies and other distributors to establish whether the recalled product is still available in the country. However, CFTC has further advised consumers to take necessary precaution not to purchase or consume the said product. The Commission has since advised consumers to immediately return such products to their suppliers and get a full refund if they purchased the product. The product has been recalled in Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, among others. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, I am Fales Chizombe.
Now, in other news, floods have killed at least 60 people in Tanzania over the last 2 weeks, spurring the East African country to seek an answer in major infrastructure projects. The government announced the death toll late on Sunday as heavy rains continue to lash the country, exacerbated by the El Nino phenomenon, which has caused droughts and floods across the globe. Bernard Manza reading an Al Jazeera News report.
Stressing that the country's coastal region was one of the worst affected, government spokesman Mobari Matinyi told a press briefing on Sunday that the country has plans to construct 14 dams to prevent flooding in future. Just 4 months ago, at least 63 people were killed during floods in northern Tanzania that also triggered devastating landslides. On Friday, 8 school children drowned after their bus plunged into a flooded gorge in the north of the country. Overall, at least 126,831 people have been affected by the flooding. More than 75,000 farms have been damaged in the coastal and Morogoro areas, about 200 kilometers west of the economic capital, Dar es Salaam. Other parts of East Africa have also been experiencing heavy rains, with flooding in neighboring Kenya reported to have killed at least 13 people.
And that report also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we leave, here's a reminder of our top stories. Pope Francis calls for every effort for dialogue and peace in Middle East. President Jawara advocates support for tobacco farmers amid rising international demand. High Court finds Satar-linked companies for late document submission to ACB in property forfeiture case. And in other news, floods kill at least 60 within 2 weeks in Tanzania as heavy rains persist. You've been with me, Tandu and Zamara. Thank you for keeping me company and continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Goodbye for now and just stay safe.
Kodi zabwino inuwayi? Lusoleki Malawi yakubweretserani maphunziro a ntchito zamanja kuyambira pa 6 May 2024 ndi kupeza certificate ndi